So it's pretty late at night. It's 10:15, and it's been a long day. It's been a good day, but I'm looking a little bit worse for wear right now. But I wanted to make this video because I keep putting it off. So I just decided, you know what? It's quiet. Jeff's in bed, and I just really need to do this. I need to just hold myself accountable. So that's what this is. Where to begin? I decided to start a brand new channel called Back to Plants because that's what I'm doing. Wow, long story. And I don't know if I really want to go into the whole history of my diet experience over the course of my life in one video. That should probably come out over time. But I guess maybe let's start with the significance of today. Today is the day before Mother's Day. It's May 10th and my mother's birthday. It will be 10 years this November that she passed away, and she passed away from breast cancer. She passed away after a long, horrendous battle with breast cancer. And she survived my dad by, she passed away in November of 2015, and my dad passed away in June of 2008 on Father's Day. So in the last year, both my little sister and my big brother have passed away. My little sister, 4 years younger than me, was completely unexpected. It was a shock. She had a massive stroke and lasted in the hospital for a few days, about a week, and then she passed away. And so that was really shocking. But I guess my biggest struggle with diets, I've been struggling with my weight my entire life. Never, incredibly obese, but who am I kidding? I've been struggling with about an extra 30 to 50 pounds most of my adult life. Sometimes I'm in the zone of my ideal weight. More often than not, I'm not. And I'm one of those people that can just put on weight just thinking about food practically. But keeping it off, getting it off, and keeping it off have been such a struggle for me. So why did I decide to name this channel Back to Plants? Well, even if you asked my husband or my kids, they would tell you that it doesn't really matter what I eat. I get some kind of negative symptom in my body, it seems like. So nothing bad enough to make me go to the doctor. I manage my health symptoms on my own, but I'm mostly trying to lose weight. And along the way, as I'm trying to apply different eating styles, I end up having symptoms. And so then I have to shift. So, I get chronic cramps in my toes, up my shins. Seems like it's carbohydrate related, but then sometimes I can just be eating nothing but animal products and I'll get those cramps. So anyway, the reason I decided to call this channel Back to Plants is because back in 2007, When after my dad had been, his health had been declining, he had a double heart attack at age 60. I'm currently 63. My dad had a double heart attack at age 60, and then his health just declined progressively for like 16 years after that. And he had all kinds of symptoms. He was in and out of the hospital. He was in a nursing home, in and out of nursing homes. He had lots of mini strokes. He was brilliant. He was an aeronautical engineer, but he lost his mental capacity. You know, they said it wasn't dementia or Alzheimer's, but it was some version of that, because he like was seriously diminished intellectually, mentally. So anyway, he had been struggling with his health for years by this point. And my younger cousin, my favorite cousin, he was only 41, I believe, when he was just out of the blue. I mean, he was completely fit, such a social, fun guy. And completely out of the blue, he started having massive headaches, and he had, they went to the hospital, did like an MRI, and discovered that he had a tumor the size of a softball in his brain. So I think that it was less than a year that he survived that, and then he died from that. And so I was really traumatized by that. And because of that, mostly because of his situation, I started doing lots of research about dietary interventions didn't even have anything to do with weight loss at that point in time. It was almost 100% health related, trying to do like interventions and prevention. And I discovered and was introduced to the concept of a raw foods diet. So I dove headfirst into raw foods, and I started a website, and like I put together a team of 25 raw foods professional chefs and healthcare professionals who contributed to an online magazine that I made called 80% Raw, and I did that for 4 years. And then I went to school at IIN, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, to become a health coach. I mean, I was really into the whole raw foods movement. I was doing catering, raw foods catering. I mean, it was, and I was writing a book. I got beta testers to test my diet, and they had success. Like, it was huge. I was very committed. But I was also in the throes of menopause at that point in time. And so, and I know this is a long backstory, but I want to give you some foundation for why I decided to start this channel and why I'm calling it Back to Plants, because it's significant. There's a reason. So anyway, that was 4 years of my life. And let's see, it was from like 2007. Well, I started 80% Raw in, I believe, 2009. And I did that until like 2013. And then, and I still don't know if this was diet related or if it was hormonal. I kind of think it was hormonal, but it might have been diet. I don't know. It might have been a contributing factor, but I was really toward coming to the end of going through menopause when I was having lots of symptoms, menopausal symptoms. But one of those symptoms that really scared me and made me think that I was going to pass out was I started having like anemia issues. Like, I was feeling anemic, and I thought I was going to pass out one time when I was out walking. And so my husband, I told him about it when I got home, and he said, you need to be eating red meat. You need iron. You need to be eating red meat. And so, because it scared me, I didn't really do a lot of research at that point in time. I kind of threw the baby out with bathwater and just figured it was my diet. and just jumped in head first into like reintroducing animal products into my diet. And I did feel better. I did. I didn't have those anemic symptoms anymore. But because of that, I just kind of went whole hog and ate all the things so that I would feel better. And I did feel better, but I gained. So I had lost on raw foods, I had lost about 30 pounds over a period of, well, over a few months. And then I kept it off. And I was like, I think I mentioned I'm 5'8", so I'm pretty tall. And fortunately, my body does a pretty good job of distributing my weight all over my body and not in just one problem area. So I can kind of get away with carrying more weight than a lot of people can, or at least I think I can. I could be wrong. But anyway, I had lost about 30 pounds and kept it off easily. I kept it off pretty easily as long as I stuck to the diet, but it was really a drastic diet to be on. You know, it really impacted our personal life and our home life and going out to eat. And, you know, it really put a lot of restrictions on my ability to be very social. Or even I would just have to completely make a separate meal for myself than for the rest of the family. But anyway, so then going back to eating animals was like, it changed a lot of things for the better, but I gained all that weight back and then some. So anyway, ever since then, I've kind of fluctuated back and forth between eating an animal-based diet, you know, like keto or paleo or whatever, and or doing like plant-based. And I included animals for a good long time there. And excuse me. And I'm sorry, my light's kind of flickering. I don't know what that is about. Maybe that's the camera. Oh, that is. Look at that. Anyhow, so I ate that way, mostly like keto, you know, low carb, sometimes high fat, but mostly low carb for a few years after that, maybe 3-4 years after that. And then just before we moved down to Texas, and we've been here 3 years, so a year and a half before that, Jeff, my husband, started having some abdominal pain and discomfort, and he was freaked out, and he was thinking he was going to go to the doctor for it. And I said, hey, what if, you know, I just put you on a whole food plant-based diet and we see if that makes a difference in your symptoms? Because he had been eating, like, it was COVID. We'd been through COVID and we hadn't been out to eat or out to do anything for a long time. And so we started ordering pizza delivery. And so I wouldn't eat it very much, but he would order, and he would have like the chicken nuggets and the mozzarella sticks and pizza, you know, like full on pizza. And he'd have that like kind of a bit. And when he started having these problems, so I said, hey, would you let me just put you on a whole food plant-based diet, and I'll fix the food for you, you know, and so that it's easy for you and food that I know you'll enjoy and stuff. And we'll see if your symptoms get any better before you take the drastic step of going to the doctor, because we don't like to go to the doctor. We like to take care of ourselves. So anyway, like, it was almost immediate, like seriously, within like 2-3 days, his symptoms were completely better. And he was like a believer, like he was fanatical. He was sold. And so we were both like hardcore, like committed to doing whole food plant based. And we both lost like 20, 30 pounds over a matter of a few months. And then we just stayed on that. We were both very, very devoted and dedicated. And so we stayed on that eating plan until we moved to Texas, throughout our whole move down here and everything. And it wasn't until after we moved down here, and I'm trying to remember why. Maybe sometime in the future I'll go through my journal entries, my food journal entries, and talk about that. But anyway, we both were dedicated to that way of eating. And then I'm trying to remember what it was that made us decide to go off of eating whole food plant-based. I think maybe I know that he was having a lot of like kind of digestive distress, and like he didn't like eating all the fiber, and it gave him, like gas and discomfort and stuff, and so we both decided, he was having a pain. He was having like bursitis in his elbow and his shoulder, like where he couldn't like put his arm up behind his back very easily and stuff. So anyway, we started researching and listening to a lot of the carnivore doctors and thinking, well, maybe we should shift and try that. And plus I was stalled in my weight loss. And so he more than I did, really went into carnivore. Like I did it too, but so anyway, really long story, not short. He's mostly just stuck with carnivore now. He has, bursitis pain, his shoulder pain and stuff went away. And he doesn't have digestive distress from eating all the fiber and stuff from plants. And he feels like he does better on carnivore, though he has gained all that weight back and then some. And then, but I've tried doing carnivore, but I always end up getting like either like short of breath or like feeling a little bit of pressure in my chest or my heart racing or whatever. And so that scares me. Because of my family history and everything, I try to be like really careful about what I eat, because prevention, an ounce of prevention is way better than a pound of cure. So, and especially with my brother and my sister both dying this past year, and she was 4 years younger than me. So anyway, biologically speaking, the odds are not stacked in my favor. So anyhow, that was all to say that I've decided that And I decided this is an appropriate day for it because it's my mom's birthday. And I just decided, you know what? I've been kind of wishy-washy on this. I keep like deciding I'm going to do that, and then I waffle, and I've been eating mostly plant-based for a while now, but for ever since I think it was March 3rd that I decided that I was going to go back to doing whole food plant-based. But, I've been like, all right, well, Easter, and then, we had family over, and we had I ended up eating animal products for that, and I made like a low-carb cheesecake because I know that they're eating low-carb or trying to. And so, I'm like, all right, as long as I'm eating mostly whole foods. But then, if they'll bring like regular cookies, I'll nibble on those or whatever, and I have wine, and which is still, plant-based, but anyway, and I've been having like some added fat, like maybe like I'll make homemade bread, and then which I never do. And then lately I've been making homemade bread, and like adding, like putting butter on it. I know. So anyhow, I just have decided that I am going to give it, I want to say a whole year, but I need to be realistic too. So let's say 90 days. I'll give it 90 days. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I've done it before. I've done whole food plant-based. No added oils. I mean, yeah, okay, I would have like some olive oil when I was doing a whole food plant-based before, or some once in a while some coconut oil. I wasn't like afraid of fats. And I lost weight, and it's not in like the distant past, but I'm just trying to think, because a lot of the whole food plant-based community, the online influencers and stuff, are all like no added oils and stuff too. And so if I'm going to have oils, I try to stay with like the cold pressed virgin, like olive oil or coconut oil, and not have like seed oils. But and I think my body does actually feel better. See, that's the thing, is I get toe cramps and shin cramps that are like unbearable when I do a lot of carbs. And so it seems like maybe when I add fats into, or like protein in there too, that like my body's better with that. And my body doesn't respond well to a lot of like starches and like legumes and stuff. So, but I really want to give it a solid try, because I'm like, I've done it before and other people do it and works for them. So I want to be committed. So anyhow, that's why back to plants, because I tried doing carnivore, tried doing keto, and honestly, I didn't really have any success with weight loss doing carnivore, keto. Really not at all, honestly, if I'm honest about it. So the most success I've had in the recent past has been with whole food plant-based. So anyway, back to plants. So I'm starting this channel to hold myself accountable, and because everybody says start a YouTube channel and track what you're doing, so, and just start doing it. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, this has been a really long introduction. If you want to come along for the journey and just, give me your feedback. Have you bounced back and forth between like keto and carnivore, or plant-based or animal-based? If you have, I would love to hear about your experience. I'm 63. I currently weigh just under 200 pounds, and I'm 5'8", and I was pretty thin at 160, but I ideally want to get down to like 140-ish. We'll see. After I get down to 160, I'll see how much more weight I want to lose after that. But that's, 35 pounds away now. So anyhow, and I've been gaining weight in the last month, ever since I started allowing myself to eat, more refined foods. So I really need to get a handle on this. Anyhow, I would love to hear from you, and if you want to join me on this journey, that's great. But anyhow, I want to be committed to posting regularly. I'll try. I know I always say I'll try. I know I'm like, I don't want to commit to something, say I'm going to do something and then not do it. I'd like to post recipes as I'm making them and what I'm eating in a day and that kind of thing too. And we'll see how consistent I can be. I'm pretty busy, so that takes a lot of time. So anyway, I work from home. I'm an author and an artist and a consultant and stuff. So anyway, but if you're here with me, thanks for being here. And I hope I get a chance to meet you and get to know you personally. All right, this is Tracy signing off. Take good care.